Afternoon, Your Honor.
Good afternoon. I think you've got my first three cases this afternoon. One of them has been dismissed, so.
Yes, right. The middle one.
Yeah, so we got dead time in the middle. Good afternoon. You're logged in as Ronald Hart, or you're logged in as Moto. Which case are you here on? What's your name? Ma'am, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, I can hear you, sir. I'm
What's your
Cheyenne
name?
Woods.
What's your name?
Cheyenne Woods.
All right, you're here for a second case. Well, good. That'll speed us up. Could you take your gum out, please?
Yes, I can.
Thanks for coming in early. CHYANN. All right, our first case at 115, and it is 115, is Ronald Hart. He was personally served, but our 135 case, the last one in line, Cheyenne Woods is here with us. So we'll go ahead and start with that one. This is 24555LT. It's entitled Deer Creek Townhomes versus Cheyenne Woods, which means so far we've had at least 555 landlord tenant cases filed. You're logged in as Lynn. Are you the manager at Deer Creek or are you at Cato?
I'm Cato.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and start this one. I didn't know if you did more than one. This is filed as a demand for non-payment of rent. Ms. Woods, if you are a defendant in such a case, you have the following legal rights. You have the right to obtain counsel for representation in this matter. If you cannot afford an attorney, a legal aid attorney may be available to help you. And Meg Bauer from Legal Aid is about to join us on the feed. And you can contact them. I sent you that information with the information you've got, but she'll be here in just a moment. You have a right to have the matter heard here in St. Joseph County where the property is. You have the right to demand a jury trial. That never happens, but if you do, you have to do it at this hearing or file a written demand for a jury within 5 days, and pay the $50 jury demand fee. If you can't afford the fee, you can ask the judge for a waiver, and we can either provide you with that form or tell you where to find it. If your landlord has asked you to be evicted from a residential property because you haven't paid rent, you may be able to get assistance from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, the local coordinated agency, a housing assessment and resource agency in our county that is called Neighborhood Inc., or a homeless veterans program if you're eligible for veterans benefits. And we did send you that information also. You do not need a judgment against you to receive help from the places listed above. A copy of the summons and complaint for your case are sufficient. Mr. Bradshaw, we've had a recent run of people that tell us DHS told us we couldn't get any assistance until we get a judgment. And I don't know if you've been seeing that also, but
Well, we've been hearing that for years, and it's
yes, likewise.
everybody knows that it's not true.
Yes, but that's what the poor people are being told. So we give them a judgment, and then hopefully they can get some help. You may be able to reach an agreement with your landlord by going through a local community dispute resolution agency like ours. It's called the Citizens Mediation Inc. If both parties are interested, we can make that referral. If you are able to reach an agreement with the landlord that the case gets dismissed, the court must provide you with that form called a conditional order of dismissal form. or tell you where to find it. So let's talk about this case. Your rent is $758 per month, according to the pleading. And Mr. Bradshaw, what's the current status?
So, Your Honor, Ms. Woods has actually been doing a really great job this month, the month of April. She's made several payments. And frankly, where we are today is, even including the court costs, she only owes $133.30. She's made over $2,000 in payments since in three or four payments since the beginning of the month. So we're only at $133.30 through the month of April. I'm more than happy, and in fact, I've already prepared a conditional dismissal. If she can get the remaining balance taken care of in the next 10 days, I'm more than happy to enter that. Of course, this does not include May because we're not in May yet. You know it's coming up, but here's where we are for the month of April and this particular case right now.
All right, if you pay $133 plus $758 for May, let's add that up. $891. That's not right. $758 plus $133 is $891. They would dismiss the case. 10 days from today is May the 6th. That's a Monday. Do you think you'll be able to do that?
I believe so.
Well, you know, Your
Well,
Honor,
let me tell you.
if you please, as a court, you know, since you're going to include May in this, I'm more than happy to do that, which in my mind, I'm thinking ahead that we'd have another hearing.
Yes.
If you're willing to get this taken care of by, like, say, the 15th, and I'll include May, then that would be, is that something you could do, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, because what would happen, the law requires that I adjourn this at least 7 days, unless we work something out like this, which would take us to May 10th. Excuse me, May 3rd. And then you'd get another 10 days from May 3rd to move or be subject to being evicted. So Mr. Bradshaw's already wrapped those time frames into here. And this will save you from having to come back next week. So you would pay the balance of $133 plus May's rent by May 15th. And if you do that, they would show that the matter was dismissed. Is that agreeable with you?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Yes. Now,
Okay.
does Mr. Bradshaw have your authority to indicate that, and it will indicate she consented on the record to those terms?
Yes.
Is that acceptable to you?
I'll sign your name, ma'am, and I'll submit it to you and to the court.
Okay.
All right, well, let me tell you some more things that you need to know. If you do move, you need to turn in your keys and provide your forwarding address in writing within 4 days of your moving. I don't think that's going to happen. If you pay the rent, then we just go and the case is dismissed. However, if you don't pay the rent by that date, you would be subject to the entry of a writ of eviction where the sheriff could come put your stuff out. And so it's important that you believe you can make these payments. Do you believe you can?
Yes, sir.
Well, you've done an excellent job, according to Mr. Bradshaw. You only owe $133, and May's rent is due anyway. What we've just done here saves you from coming back for 2 subsequent hearings. Now, he's going to send you this order. He's going to send it to me, and I'm going to sign it. We're going to send it to you. If it doesn't match what we discussed here in court and you have any objection to it, you have 7 days to let the court know that. But if you pay, the case will get dismissed. If you don't pay, you could be subject to being evicted on or after May 15th. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
This will show, it won't show on your credit record. It will show as the case being dismissed. All right, do you have any questions, Ms. Woods?
No, sir.
Thank you for being here early,
No problem.
and we've resolved that first case. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell Mr. Fleeman to hold it down over there. I can hear him in the background.
Well, he's not around. He's on the other side of the floor from me. It must be somebody else.
Oh, all right. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about who isn't here, which is our first case, Mr. Hart. Let me check with the court officers and make sure he's not here in the building.
We anticipated he may not be here. The word is, and Lynn can confirm, he's been, folks, he's moving out.
Okay. Hello, Deputy Tyler. I'm looking for landlord tenant client Ronald Hart. Hart. All right. Thanks. Bye. We're going to lose some of our bailiffs. They've opened the court building in Three Rivers, and shortly
Where's that?
the probate and family courts are going to be in Three Rivers. They've opened a brand new courthouse on Michigan Avenue in Three Rivers. And so the family court cases and probate court cases will be held here, which removes about 30 plus cars from the parking lot. All the staff in those two departments will be going to Three Rivers. And Judge Tomlinson will be sitting in Three Rivers.
Oh,
The problem is our lawyers now have to be two places at once. They were always able to just come here, do a quick landlord tenant hearing, go up to Judge Tomlinson's case and hand a delinquency hearing or something, and then go to circuit court and perhaps work something out there. So you've had more than one courthouse. Well, one time you had three courthouses when you had Portage.
Right.
But we don't have that many lawyers to go around. We're going to have to share them, and we may be doing some things by Zoom, but they've done a good job of refurbishing this old building, and it's not to my aesthetic style, but I won't be there, so I guess I don't need to worry about it. But sure be a lot of spaces in the parking lot.
so Michigan Avenue, I don't know Three Rivers that well.
It's right where McDonald's is. It's that road that goes down 131. The problem is coming to Three Rivers now that they've reconstructed 131. You used to be able to get off on North Main Street. It's really hard to do that now, but that was a very dangerous intersection.
Where Frankie's is?
Yes, where Frankie's is. There have been a lot of fatal accidents at that intersection. Now you can go to Michigan Avenue where the Admiral Station is and turn left, and the court is right there, half a mile down the street. So it's a nice bonus for Three Rivers. It puts that building back into service. It greatly improved it. It brings people to town for lunch and shopping and otherwise. It's not as convenient if you live in Sturgis or Colon or Fur Oak or somewhere on the other side of the county, but that's what they've done. And then when they finish that, they're going to do some refurbishing here in this building.
Rick and I drove by it the other day, and it obviously wasn't open yet, but maybe not obviously. But it looked nice from the outside. It was pretty easy to get to off the road. So that was plenty of parking. That was nice.
It is pretty accessible. It's also a bonus for all the court employees that live in Three Rivers. But I've driven back and forth from my house to here for 44 years. I don't think my car could figure out how to get there. It's on automatic pilot, but I'll still be here for the next few years.
It's 5 miles.
Well,
Right?
From my house to here is about 9. From the courthouse in Centerville to that courthouse is probably 7 or 8 miles. Well, let's call Cato Apartments Companies versus Ronald Hart. Mr. John Bradshaw is here on behalf of the plaintiff. Meg Bauer is here, and their manager, Lynn, is Furup.
Yes.
Is here on behalf of Cato. What's the status here, Mr. Bradshaw?
Yes, sir. This is summary proceedings for termination of the tenancy. The defendant was served a notice to quit. In terms of the procedure, the mailing procedure, we did do the request for the second mailing. And of course, we've done your request to do the postal mailing. The defendant does not appear to be here. I think if I put testimony on, it would, the indication would be that Mr. Hart had been making plans to vacate the unit.
Is that true, Ms. Furup?
Yes,
And he's actually started moving?
yes.
Well, let's just do a default.
I have a prepared judgment unless you have one.
No, I don't. If you'd send me one.
All right,
The date for the writ is 10 days from today, which would be May 6th.
that's what I've got.
Now, I didn't know the reason for the termination of tenancy. It just was a termination. Was this a just cause or just expiration of the lease?
Well, it's actually both. This lease has turned into a month-to-month, and there were many violations as well, and those were attached to the notice to quit. I don't know if we attach those to our complaint.
Well, I've got the notice to quit, but I
Linda,
don't have any.
you want to go in and you want to just give
No,
the,
we don't need it. It's a default. He's not here and he's moving, and I guess I don't need to go on the record for what his reasons were, but we would have if we'd gotten into some contested issue. I'd ask you to email me the judgment.
Yep.
And then that leaves us one case. We've been here before. Elm Tree Apartments versus Cinquez Furlough. And it was a non-payment of rent case. And Mr. Bradshaw has provided a dismissal without prejudice, which I have signed. Ms. Furlough's not here. And this was set for 125. So if she was going to be here, she'd be here already. So that's all three of the Bradshaw cases today.
thank you, Your Honor. Good to see
All
you.
right, Ms. Furlough, you're good to go.
Okay, thank you.
Good to see you, Meg.
You too, John.
Meg, before I went on the record, I talked about some more Russian crime novels. I don't know if anybody's interested in that. We had a discussion this morning about
Your Honor, thank you.
books I liked, so I talked about some more.
You sold